Hi guys, it's Night Fear, and I'm coming on today to do my TBR for the Magical Readathon, the Owls. This Readathon is taking place through the whole entire month of April and is hosted by Book Roast, and I will leave her announcement video down below. And she has a lot of links to a lot of different things that you can see and do. A lot of people are picking their careers first, then seeing what owls that they need, and then going on for the newts. The newts will be held in August. I'm doing it differently. I want to read all 12 prompts, and then I'll figure out between now and August what career I want to go for, which is, I guess, kind of a little backwards, but I know I want to read all 12 books. So, yeah. Okay. So this is based on Harry Potter and the school that he goes to and the tests that they have to take. And so she has divided it up into each of the different courses that they would have to take, and she's picked a book for each of those. You have to read one book per prompt. You cannot double up because it's like taking a test, so you can't double up and have one test count for two subjects. It really makes sense. So anyway, and a lot of these books are on Kindle because right now my library, it's still kind of open, but you can only get books like 1 hour a day, and it's becoming a real hassle. So I just went ahead and got most of the books online. So, alrighty. So the very first one is for ancient runes, and this is the heart rune, and it has to have a heart on the cover or in the title. And so I picked A Heart in a Body in the World by Deb Coletti. This is about a girl who has had a really rough life, and she decides to run from Seattle to Washington, D.C. And basically this is her story. I don't know any more than that. I don't want to know. I've heard this is a heartbreaking story. It makes a lot of people cry, and a lot of people love this story. I have had it on a TBR before, and I didn't get to it. So I'm excited to get to it now, and I am determined that I'm going to read it.
She's gonna cry.
Probably. The next one is ARITHMANCY, Magical Qualities of Number 2. And this is balance and opposites. So you're to read something outside your favorite genre. I chose a nonfiction book. And for those of you that don't know, April is Autism Awareness Month, so this kind of coincides with that too. But this is called Funny You Don't Look Autistic, A Comedian's Guide to Life on the Spectrum by Michael McCrary. He is a man who was diagnosed with autism at the age of 5. And so this kind of tells his story. It's his memoir on, basically having autism and being a comedian. It sounded really interesting, and I decided this would be the perfect time to read this book. And I do not read a lot of nonfiction, so it is out of my favorite genre.
Wow.
The next one is Astronomy, Night Classes. Read majority of this book when it's dark outside. And this is, I chose this one, The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. This one is about a girl, and she has a plan. She's going to woo the Shadow King. She's going to marry the Shadow King, and then she's going to kill him and take his kingdom. The problem with this is that there's a lot of other people trying to also kill him, and she has to keep him alive until she can marry and kill him. And then, of course, try not to fall for him, because we know how this goes. So this sounds really good. I'm really excited about this one. Yeah, so that's The Shadows Between Us.
There's shadows between us?
The next one is Care of Magical Creatures. It's hippogriffs, and you need to have a creature with a beak on the cover. And for this one, I picked the Storm Crow by Kaylin Josephson.
Hey.
Yeah, it's not spelled different though.
Oh.
And this one is about a world, well, a kingdom where crows are magical, and so they kind of revere the crows, and they have a bunch of crows, and then another kingdom comes and attacks them and burns down the rookery, kills all the crows, all the eggs, everything. And our main character, her family is killed, and so her sister becomes the queen, and she has to betroth her sister to the prince of the kingdom that basically destroyed theirs. But before she leaves, she finds a crow egg, and so she has to take the crow egg with her, hatchet, and try to come up with a plan for kind of a rebellion against this kingdom that destroyed theirs. So yeah, it sounds really good. I've been wanting to read this one for a while, actually.
What are they called?
Oh, and as you can see right here, obviously there's a beak.
I got a question. Sorry.
What, Kaylin?
What do they call a crow a rook?
Huh? What? They don't.
They don't?
It's a rookery. It's where you hatch birds. So the next one is Charms, and this is Lumos Maxima, and it needs to be a book with a white cover. For this one, I have picked Grave Maidens by Kelly Kuhn, and yes, this was on last month's TBR. I didn't get to it, and this is about a kingdom where the king gets sick, and it's kind of like Egyptian, where they're buried with stuff, and so her sister is one of the grave maidens that are going to be killed and buried, or else I don't know if they're going to be killed or if they're buried alive with the king when he dies. But anyway, she's determined that she is not going to let her sister die, and so that's basically this story. It sounds really good, and I'm excited to get to this. Okay, the next one is Defense Against the Dark Arts, and it's Grindylows, and it's a book set at the sea or coast. For this one, I picked Coral by Sarah Eller, and this little tagline is there is more than one way to drown. And this is about a mermaid, a girl who is a mermaid, and she basically it's kind of, it's a retelling of Little Mermaid, so and everything that kind of entails. So I'm excited to read this one, and it's actually a middle grade book, which I was surprised. So we'll see how good it is. It's kind of long for a middle grade, but it should be easy to read.
What kind of retelling?
It's Little Mermaid.
Like, is it along the same storyline?
I don't know. I haven't read it yet. The next one is Divination, Third Eye. Assign a number to your TBR and use a random number generator to pick your read. I did this with the books I had on hold from my library. And the one that came up was All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. I just absolutely love this cover. And this one is about a princess that was trained to kill with magic. And when she goes to show her magic off, she ends up torturing the man instead of just killing him outright. And she is imprisoned, and she's expecting to die. Then she is saved by a sailor who says, "Hey, I need your help because there is this threat to the kingdom, and I need your magic to help me take care of it." So yeah, that's what this one's about. I'm excited to read this one too. And I guess I could have probably used that one for the coast and the sea, but I wanted to use Coral. All right. The next one is Herbology, Mimbletonia. And this is a title that starts with an M. I thought it was an I, but I've luckily watched some other TBRs, and it was just fancy and it kind of looked like an I, but it's actually an M. And so for this one, I picked Midnight Jewel by Rochelle Mead. This is the second one in the Glittering Court novels, and this is about girls who are taken from England. I think it's England. Or they're taken from one place, and then they're brought over to find husbands and things. And so this is about another one of the girls. It's the same story as the first one, but this is about Myra. So it's taken from her point of view and her story. And a lot of people are not into these kind of novels. I think I'm not going to mind because there's a lot we don't see about what she's doing behind the scenes, and I'm curious to see. So I'm going to hopefully like this one. It's been on my TBR for a while. I actually own this book. So yeah, so it's time for me to get to it. Okay, so that's that page. The next one is History of Magic, Witch Hunts, book featuring witches or wizards. And this is almost the perfect book for this challenge because this is called Bloodleaf. It's by Crystal Smith, another gorgeous cover. And this is about a princess who has magic in a world where, or in a kingdom where magic is hunted and it's not appreciated, and and so during an assassination attempt she reveals her magic, and so she's being hunted, so she has to flee and she has to go to an enemy country, and so it's all about her story. And this, I think, is a trilogy. It's either a duology or a trilogy. So but I thought this would be the perfect, because it is basically a witch hunt, so I thought this would be the perfect book for that. Such a pretty cover. Okay.
You have so many magic books.
Well, yeah, I like fantasy, and fantasy usually entails magic. Okay, so the next one is Muggle Studies. And this is a book from perspective of a Muggle, so basically a contemporary. Now, this is the only book I have read this month so far. Yes, my reading is just horrible. But I had to read this one because it was due at the library, and I wanted to definitely read this for that. And it's called Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga. And this is about a mother and daughter. They are from Syria. And the book starts out in Syria, so we kind of get to see that. And it's basically their city is being threatened from war and just all kinds of horrible things. And her mother I'm not going to say that because that's going to spoil things. Anyway, there's a reason, and her mother go to live with her uncle in the United States. And so we get to see the differences between her life in Syria and her life in the United States. And she is Muslim, so there's that bit. And we get to find out going from not wearing the headscarf to wearing the headscarf, and how people treat her differently. And it's just really good. And this is a book in verse, so it's really easy to read. It is a middle grade book, but it was amazing. I really enjoyed it, which I shouldn't be telling you yet. But if you have a chance to read this book, I would highly, highly recommend it. So yes, definitely.
Is that on your TBR now if you already read it?
Because I should have done this video like a week ago before I read it. Okay, the next one is Potions, and it's Shrinking Solution, book under 150 pages. This is another one that I have been wanting to read for forever, and it is an audiobook from my library, but it's called The Test from Sylvain Nouvelle. The tagline are, "We are our choices. Who are you willing to be?" And basically this is about a British citizen's test. It is a gentleman from Iran who is taking the test. I just started this morning. So, there's 25 questions. And then there's some kind of a twist where, because of his answers or whatever, he has to decide somebody else's fate. I think that's from what I'm getting from reading some of the fudgy
Preview.
previews. That's not the word, but anyway, so I'm excited, and it's only like 120 pages or 130 pages. So, but I've been really wanting to read this, and I haven't read anything by Sylvain Neuvel before. I do want to read the series, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's a 3-book series about the metal man. So anyway, yeah, so I'm excited to read this, like I said, and I did start it, so I'll be listening to it on audiobook today. So that one definitely will be read. So you'll hear my opinion of that one.
You could also call it a teaser, or like a summary of the story.
Summary, that was the word I was looking for. Then the last one is Transfiguration, Animagus Lecture, and it's a book series that includes shape shifting. Now, this is a series I have never heard about, but I was looking, and I like paranormal, but I don't read a lot of it. And so I found this series. It's called Written in Red. It's by Anne Bishop, and it's about a world where what's called the others rule, and the others are like vampires and shapeshifters, etc., etc. There's other, they rule the world, and humans are food. And so our main character is a girl who can see the future when she is cut. So when, her blood is exposed, she can see the future. She is being held by what they, in the summary, it says controller. And basically she's enslaved. So she finally escapes, and she has to find a safe place, and then in comes a werewolf. So yeah, it sounds really good, and I'm excited to read this and see what this is like. So anyway, so that is my TBR for the Owl's Magical Readathon, and I am sorry that it is so late. I've been meaning to film, and just, I don't know, issues. And I have not been reading a lot, so I'm hoping to film a video about the books I have been reading to let you guys know. So hopefully I'm going to do better this month. Anyway, let me know down below if you are going to be participating in the owls. I've seen a lot of TBR, so I know a lot of people are. Let me know if you've read any of these books. If you think I should prioritize one over the other, let me know. Please remember to always be kind to each other, especially now with everything that's going on in the world. We love you, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.